Moto Dad Podcast. Obviously, we're at a dirt bike track.
It's going to be loud.
It's going to be loud. So if you don't like background noise, this is not the podcast for you because I don't have my gear with me. I'm using a laptop and a GoPro right now. Thank you, GoPro, for hooking it up. Yeah, man. Where are we? Where are we at?
Dublin Gap.
Dublin Gap.
Regionals, yeah.
The regionals. And I'm sitting here with the man, the myth, the legend. Introduce yourself.
I wouldn't
man.
say that.
Introduce yourself.
Matt Nolan, father, 2 kids. Brought my kid all the way over from Australia. So, yeah, rad to be here. First time we've gone to a race like this. So, yeah, it's pretty cool.
This is awesome. And it just so happens that we parked kind of right next to you. And I saw you put the tent out and it said Australia on it. And I was like, nah, can't be Australia. Like, they must be like maybe from, but not like there. And then I get talking to you and you guys are flying back and forth.
Yeah. So we've done, this is our 3rd trip back in 2 months.
That's awesome.
So Huck's broke his arm at Mill Creek. A second qualifier that we were trying to do. We were going for like a 5-week tour. Week 2, snapped his arm in half. Was on the next plane home and sat at home for 6 weeks.
Well, hey, let's kick the Moto Dad podcast off. Let's crack the beers. As Moto Dads, we drink beers and we talk about dirt bikes. Guys, it's been a long time since I've done a podcast, and I apologize. I've been so busy, so crazy busy trying to get ready for this race, trying to get ready for everything that we got going on that I haven't been able to put one up in a while. But we have an awesome opportunity here to talk to Mr. Nolan, a dude from Australia that's over here, man, trying to live the dream, right? Like, so tell me how this kind of came about, because coming from Australia, you rented an RV, you got a trailer over here, you got 2 bikes over here. Man, that's not easy. That's no easy feat. So what gets you here, man? Your kid's riding a 4 to 6 class. You're obviously like, new to it, I guess.
You're new to dirt bikes. I don't know how to ride a bike. Like, I've got a bike, but it's parked in the shed collecting dust because he's faster than me. So dirt bikes are new to me. So back in Australia, different rules. You can't competitively race until you're 7. So obviously Hux is still 6. He can't competitively race. So
if he can't competitively race, what makes you want to come over here? Because and for the listeners, Hux is no slouch. The dude's gone 6.6 on the day. He's out there riding with some of the fastest kids in the country, and he's holding his own. What makes you, and I'm not trying to say this in a bad way, but what makes you think he can come over here and be competitive? What makes you do that?
I suppose it's the Australian way. Give it a crack, we've got nothing to lose.
Yeah.
We're not coming over here with high hopes of, setting the world on fire, but we're coming over here, we want to make Lorettas. We want to be in that top 40. So that's the deal. We're here. The arm break set us back a bit. Like, it really interrupted it because he's really bad, and I'm not going to lie, he's pretty shit when he hasn't got any seat time. So sitting at home on the couch for 6 weeks hurt. We got the all clear from Dr. Stevens on the Thursday. Jumped on the plane on the Tuesday morning. Flights were booked, and I said to him at 6 weeks, like, you better give me the okay to put this kid back on the plane because we're going.
That's awesome.
Jumped on the plane, flew back to Charlotte, grabbed our bikes, drove straight to Oklahoma within a day. Rode at Renard's. He qualified at Renard's as well, just to buy some extra time. So the deal was, we'll come back over. We'll just try and get some regionals that are the last regionals. So if we needed seat time, we could work on seat time. So we got through Renard's, and then we hooked up with Cannon, who won the 4 to 6 class last year. Went and stayed with those guys for 3 days. Went out to Tapped. Trained with Taylor at Tap for 2 days, and man, the 2 days you could tell, like, he picked up so much. Like, for sitting off the bike for 6 weeks, you could see he was rusty at Renard's. Went to Tapped, he got his ass handed to him by Shannon. Shannon is quick in the 4 to 6 class. So shout out to Dave and Shannon. They helped us out heaps for 2 days at Tapped. Hux had his work cut out, riding with him for 2 days. Like, he was mentally and physically wrecked. So then we took Thursday off, drove to Minnesota. Drove all the way up to Minnesota from Oklahoma. We were actually in Texas because we were down at Taps. So we drove up there. I don't know, what is it, 16, 17 hour drive or something silly like that. Got up to Minnesota. So we went from like 90s to like cold. Like, it was cold. Like, we don't get that cold back home. Like it doesn't get cold in Queensland like that. Like, so Hux is on the starting line, and I'm, you know, big for looking after the people that have helped us. So he has to race in his jersey. There's no jackets, there's no jumpers. So I was rugging him up on the start line.
Oh, yeah.
In one of my jumpers, and then as soon as the board went up, I was like, all right, it's off now. Like, it's game time. So he went 2-1 up at Minnesota. So he got his first actual proper win, where he was allowed to actually race for stuff. So we went home.
Man, what
pretty
does
pumped.
that feel like?
It brought a tear to my eye, to be honest. You know, like after 6 weeks off the bike, and then the 10-day turnaround that we had to get to Minnesota, and the kid just overnight just clicked and was like, he was hungry for a win on day 2 up at Minnesota after practice, because practice wasn't amazing.
Yeah.
But day 2 he just turned it on and rode his little heart out. He got the whole shot in the first race and then dropped it coming out of the first corner. And I've never seen his eyes like light up like that, and he just charged back through the field. And then dropped it again on the last lap, finished second, and then in the second race he just went out in front and cleared out. So and
now,
the trip wasn't over then. Like,
yeah.
Mate, we literally finished, picked up our trophy for 4 o'clock, and we motored back to Charlotte, 18 hours straight. Like, I had my mum over with me. She lives over in the States, so I'm kind of lucky. It was a bit of an easier trip from Cali's side. She came with me. Mum's going to hate me for this, but she drove for 3 hours during the night, and I lost 45 minutes on the GPS.
Oh,
I was like,
no.
I had a 3-hour nap, and I woke up and I looked at the clock, and I was like, how can you lose 45 minutes in 3 hours? Like, were you driving at 40 mile an hour on the freeway, or what were you doing?
No.
So I kicked her out of the driver's seat, and I got back in again, and just charged on through, got back to Charlotte, dumped our trailer as quick as we could, and jumped on a plane back home. We're home for 10 days, and we're back here now. So
unreal. So what do you, obviously back home you ride dirt bikes. What is he riding for a dirt bike back home before you ultimately make this decision? Like what did he start on?
It started as just a backyard fun. Like, we got 5 acres at home. I'm from a car racing background. Like, that's what my hobby is, outside of my business that I have. Can't ride a go-kart. I can't race a go-kart or even train in a go-kart till you're 7. So at 4.5, 5 years old, that was out of the question.
Yeah.
So he had a go-kart in the backyard, but that's all he could do. You know, Australia is so restrictive of what you can do with your kids. Competitively, you know, they want to baby every kid and be like, every kid gets participation, but you can't get participation until you're 7, you know, 7, 8, you know, so
you come over here, we got 4-year-olds hucking triples.
Yeah, like 4-year-olds just charging. Like in Australia, like I said to you this morning, I was like, why'd they send us out second? Like, the track's a bit average. Back home, mate, we don't go out till the second round.
Yeah.
Because they don't want the kids to get stuck, because it might hurt their feelings. You know, so it's a massive change for him. You know, he's rolling up to gates that are competitively gates. You know, there's 40 kids there, and you get a shit start, you got some work to do.
Now, the kids obviously got something both physically and mentally strong, right? Because to show up here, like TJ, my boy, has been doing gate drops with big gates like this for 3 years, right? He's still mentally, like, I wouldn't say weak, but he's hesitant, right? And Huxley is not hesitant. He's just wide open.
Yeah, we train for the whole shot. You know, that's what we want. He's cost me a bit of money. Like, whole shots are my thing. Like, I put money on the line for him to get a whole shot. He gets a bad start, he pays it back.
Yeah,
you know, so it goes to him, and then it comes back if it's a shit one. So we put a fair bit of time and effort into a whole shot.
And what about riding a dirt bike for him? Because, like, I'm not gonna lie, there's people around the pits talking about him. Like, he does things on a bike, on a 4 to 6 bike. Like, I had somebody come up to me and they're like, "Hey man, who is that kid?" And I go, "I don't know. He's parked next to us." And they're like, "He's like jumping from rut to rut. He did this weird thing where he just jumped out of a rut into another rut." And I'm like, "Well, I didn't see it." And he's like, "It was sick." What is it like physically on the bike with him? Like, does he have something that you've never seen? But like, what is it with him?
I honestly don't know what it is. And as you've seen, he's small. He's small. Like, he turned 7 in 3 weeks, and he's not even 20 pound, I think it is, like, for you guys over here. So he's under 20 kilos in Australia. So he's light. His 5-year-old sister can pick up a bike quicker than him.
Yeah.
Hux can't stack the bike, you know, and he learned this today, like in practice, if he drops that bike, because he can't start it.
Yeah.
He's just too small, and he just doesn't have the strength in him. Like, his 5-year-old sister could knock him out pretty easy. So watch out when she wants to actually turn the switch, because at the moment it's just a social thing for her. But yeah, I don't know. He has always had a really good balance. Growing up, like as much as we don't have snow in Australia, we try and make a family holiday every Christmas, and it's normally to the snow. So we've been to Whistler, Japan. You know, that's been our family holiday to get away from work. My business shuts down for 2 to 3 weeks over Christmas.
Yep. So
we make it a family holiday, and we normally try and get away from Australia. So his balance has been there from a young age, but he really excels on his balance on his bike. You know, awesome. He stands up more than any other kid at 4 to 6. But yeah, he knows he can't drop the bike because he's in a world of hurt when it's on the ground.
The only thing that we got going for us with Travis is he stands up. I mean, he is standing the whole time. We're trying to work with him like, dude, you have the talent to go faster. And he'll show little sprints here and there, but he's just not confident enough to twist it. And you got a guy or a kid like Hux that has both of them, right? He knows how to stand up. He knows the body position, but he can also shut that switch off and get on the throttle, and it's really cool to see, man. He went by Hux, by TJ this morning like he was tied to a tree. Like it was.
I to be honest, I didn't see this morning's race.
Yeah,
I checked out after I walked off after the first lap. He was on the ground 3 times. He crossed the line in 18th, and I was just like, dude, like keep your bike up. Like your lap times are there. Like he ended up with the 3rd fastest time, but I came back to the trailer and watched it on my phone. And then I'm just sitting there watching him picking off kids, and I'm like, maybe I should be up there, but I was like, I was so pissed, but then so proud at the same time that he was charging back through the pack, and he's never raced against 40 kids before.
What is it like with him? Like we always say, like we spent all this money, but what did we spend? We spent $500 in gas and then entry fees. What'd you spend to be here? A lot.
A lot of money. I'm not one for sitting there and writing it down and putting a tally to it, because it'd probably make me cry at times.
So what's the emotion like when that happens? Like when you see, and it's not that the effort isn't there, it's just the cards don't fall right. Yep. You know, you say today you walked off the fence, you went back to the trailer. Like, I've had that feeling. Dude, I'm not going to lie, we had one of the worst days of racing that we've had in a very long time.
Yep.
And I came back here and I wanted to cry. Like, I was just so devastated by the bad luck and the small lacks of effort and these sort of things, you know, that... So, like, how do you handle that emotion with him not being a dirt bike dad, right? Like, you're a dirt bike dad, but not being a guy that kind of grew up racing. Like, I'm a guy that grew up racing. So when I see bad luck, or if I see, you know, a moto-related, you know, incident, I can kind of understand it. I can grasp that concept because I know what it's like to race, and I know what it's like to be on the line with 40 bikes, and like, but how do you handle that as yourself, like not having done that?
It's hard. It's hard. Like, I put a lot of pressure on myself. One, to make sure the bike stays in one piece, because I'm not a bike person either, you know, so I've had to learn everything. We don't have Cobras back home. You know, we've just started we've got a new dealer in Australia importing them. So shout out to Kieran, because Kieran's been helping Hux out. So learning about the Cobras, learning what kind of parts I need, what I need to carry with me, and how to make sure the bike works, has been a big thing. So it's tough.
Are you getting any support over here from Cobra at all?
We're getting no support from Cobra over here, but we're getting looked after by the dealer in Australia. There's one dealer, the guy who imports him, Kieran. So Kieran's looked after us really well. So Hux was on a KTM until October, November last year, when we went, you know what, we're going to America. If we're going to go to America, we need to commit to America, and we need to put him on Cobra. So we got in touch with Kieran. We made something work. Because obviously the Cobra bikes with COVID and that were a lot slower to get. Kieran actually had to air freight a bike to Australia to get Huxley a bike for Christmas, so he had something to train on. So yeah, it's been tough.
Yeah, that's tough. Hold on, I gotta get rid of this pit bike. Hey! Hey! Shut it off or go! We're doing an interview. He's just sitting there flipping the throttle. So nobody, I guess, has anybody taken a notice to you guys yet over here? Like, have you had anybody come up to you from any of the Cobra guys, any of those guys come up and say hi yet? Like,
no, we haven't. So we got I picked up the phone myself after watching Loretta's last year and seeing there was Minton engines everywhere.
Yeah.
So I picked up the phone and I rang Rob Minton.
Mm-hmm.
And he gave me his cell number and I rang him and I said, mate, I want the same as what Canon had.
Yeah.
I don't care, just get me an engine. Send me an... I was like, no, just build me an engine and post it to me. So he posted the engine across to our good friends down in Charlotte. So shout out to the guys in Charlotte. I've got the mates down there. So Jarrett Johnson, like he's got his own shop. He runs Moto 40 down in Charlotte. So he's had Hux's bikes. He's had stuff turning up every day. Like we buy stuff, send it there. We literally turned up. The Minton engine was in the bike. The bike was ready to roll.
That's sweet.
So without Jared, that would make this trip a lot harder as well. Having that base in Charlotte, as much as it's been a drive to get everywhere. Yeah. We've had a base.
Yeah.
And that's where to start.
The Southeast isn't a bad. That North Carolina, South Carolina area is not terrible. That's where Cooper Webb came from and did all his traveling from. Like, you can get to places, So what's the plan, man? Like, obviously you're here. You're hoping to punch a ticket. You got one more regional after this in case it doesn't go good here, right? You have the
we got two. No.
Oh my God.
We got North Central, South Central.
Unbelievable.
So he clicked those after breaking his arm.
Yep.
So we did those the last 2 weeks we were here. So.
Man, unreal. So the hope is to punch a ticket, go to Loretta's.
Ideally, we punch a ticket this weekend
and fly home.
Tuesday, I'll check out. I'll go home.
Mm-hmm.
Get back to the business and knuckle down there. My wife will then come over. She'll fly over into Dallas, and he's going to base out of Dallas.
Yeah.
So he's going to hang down at TAP, and then do some stuff at Game as well. But mainly he'll be out at TAP, running with Shannon, hanging out with Cannon on the weekend, riding with those guys. To be fast, you got to ride with the fast kids.
Yeah.
So there's no point in me taking him home. So yeah, he's going to miss 6 to 8 weeks of school because we're not on break. We don't get break until Christmas.
Really?
So we've put school a bit to the side.
Yeah.
He's doing a bit of schoolwork and his school's been amazing. Putting a program together for him.
But man, like all these kids that are homeschooled, right? And they do homeschool while they train and while they race. It's tough, man. When you're driving 14-hour days and then you're racing and then you're driving another 12 hours and then training and then like
I can't teach him. Not while I'm behind the wheel. Yeah.
It's crazy, man.
Yeah.
Well, that's cool. I mean, honestly, it's super cool getting to meet you because
I appreciate it.
I honestly I got to watch Hux ride a little bit, and I just have a good feeling about the kid. Like, he has an awesome style on the bike. He's got the mentality for it, So I'm super pumped to sit down with you and talk Moto Dad talk. This is really cool.
I appreciate you guys have been amazing. So everyone's been amazing since we got here. We haven't had a bad run.
How is America? Like, how is coming to all these tracks for you? How has it been? Like,
it's been good. Look, there's obviously been people that probably don't want us here because we're taking a spot away from an American kid. But it is what it is. We want to ride with fast kids. I want to push him. I want to throw him in the deep end and see if he can sink or swim. So we bring him over here and give him a shot.
Well, he's swimming right now, man.
He's swimming all right.
Yeah.
So hopefully we hold it together tomorrow. We stay on two wheels, and we'll be right. So
that's awesome.
Yeah, that's the plan.
So, man, you've ridden with some pretty fast kids. Would you say kind of like who's like the one kid that you're kind of that maybe he's looking up to now here?
He has made a really good bond with Cannon.
That's awesome.
Yeah. So shout out to AJ and Brittany as well for being so friendly. Like, we'd never met them.
Yeah.
Obviously a bunch of messages over Instagram.
Yep.
Before we came, and that's about it. And that was the end of it. And then we got there and we met them at Renard's. Went back, we stayed at their house the following night after Renard's. And Hux and Cannon get on like a house on fire. So
that's awesome.
He wants to come back and live in Texas with Cannon and Shannon and just ride.
Yeah.
He's keen for it. And we don't have that in Australia.
I tell you what, man, you can do a lot in this industry just on Instagram. Like, so full transparency, we leave next week for out west, right? And we're making stops along the way. And we're literally stopping at people's houses, like that we know from Moto.
Yep.
Like some of the fastest kids in the country, I've messaged and they're like, yes, boom, stop here, stop at our house, let's ride, then move on your way. This community is so welcoming.
100%. Like,
it's crazy.
I don't normally touch his Instagram. It's all the missus. But yeah, she's always talking to parents over here.
Yeah.
And everyone's been so amazing, with you can crash at our place, you can leave your motor home, you can come and ride our track. It's been amazing. Like the actual Moto family itself here has been sensational.
Well, if you ever want to come to Maine, if you ever
I don't even know where Maine is.
Man, Maine is practically Canada.
Oh, that's sweet.
Yeah. It's cold, so I've heard Hux maybe doesn't like the cold.
He's not much of a cold person. Like, we told him we were coming over and there might be snow, and he's like, "Can I bring my snowboard?" And I was like, "Bro, no snowboards. Like, we're here to race bikes. You're not touching your snowboard until if you punch that ticket to Loretta's. There's no snowboard until after Loretta's." So
that's awesome. What so on the flip side of that, who's a moto dad you look up to, man? You said you're coming into this and you're kind of learning the ropes right now because you didn't grow up a moto guy. Who's a dad that you kind of look up to and why?
I don't have a moto dad to look up to. It's hard. Like, I've got some moto dads that I hang out with back home, but we try and keep to ourselves as well because there's a lot of hate back home as well about Hux having this opportunity. It's coming out of my pocket, so it is what it is. Like, I don't care. You can hate all you want, but I'm giving my kid a chance that I can do, and if other people wanted to do that, they can put their money where their mouth is and jump on the airplane and come over.
Why is that? Because I think there's a lot of kids that TJ has always raced with that I'm super stoked when the kid does good.
Yep.
Like, I love when the kids do good that he races with. Do I want my kid to win? Yes. But I never want another kid to fail because I want my kid to win. You know, like, where does that come from?
I don't know, and it's a shit attitude to have for the kids, and it's the same attitude of, I hope he doesn't turn up to race me because that's one less fast kid I'm going to have. Like, if you want to be fast, you got to race the fast kids.
Yeah. And
realistically, a number one trophy because you just turned up and there was no other fast kids there, what's it mean?
Yeah.
I don't believe in it, and even Huck said that I was giving him a spray before, and I was like, "Dude, you rode well last week," and he goes, "Yeah, but there wasn't that many fast kids there."
Yeah.
And I was like, "You got a point. Like, you know that you checked out, but the competition wasn't there."
And that's how it was. We've gone to some big races, and there's like 3 fast kids, and when we podium, it's like, great, cool. What are we gonna post that on Instagram?
Yep.
Like, why? There's a lot of motorhomes rolling out of here today, where the kid's not hurt.
Yeah.
They're out.
Yep.
Why, like, and that's our mentality. Like, we came here, we had a shit day, but dude, he's racing tomorrow because all the fast kids are going to be here. Where do you get that? You don't get that, You don't
get faster by racing slow kids.
Yeah, exactly.
You don't get faster by not having kids to race against. So there's no point of rocking up to racetracks with 3 people in it to get a trophy.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, like, what did you do with your trophies that you had when you were a kid?
I've thrown them all away.
They're in the bin. They mean shit.
They're in the bin.
They mean shit,
I don't think I have one trophy left.
Yeah.
From when I raced dirt, and I raced a lot of dirt bikes, man. Like, I won a lot of trophies, but they all ended up in the trash.
Yeah, I cleaned my shed out and binned my trophy from when I was a kid from my sports that I played, and Hux took a couple of trophies because I don't let him get trophies back home.
Yeah.
If he's racing the non-competitive class, because not 7, and they give a trophy to every kid, I'm like, dude, I don't care if you come first or last, you're not getting a trophy.
Yeah.
Like, it's not about participation. We're here for for something.
Yeah.
We got to go 1-1-1, and we got to get every hole shot. Otherwise, don't go and get a trophy.
Yeah.
Because the other kid next to you has got the same size trophy, and he's going to post it on Instagram and say he got his mad trophy. So. No trophies for Huxley. So until he gets back, so he's qualified trophies. He got to keep those.
Yep.
And they mean something to him. So hopefully we can finish tomorrow off well.
That's awesome. Well, man, and thank you for sitting down with me.
No, I appreciate it.
You don't know me, I don't know you, but I appreciate you trusting me with this, and man, I hope you guys get kind of that. I hope you guys get the spotlight that you're here for, because obviously, like, Hux has been hanging out with my boy like all weekend. He's an awesome kid. He's got a good heart, and man, the kid can ride the wheels off a dirt bike. So from here, trying to go to Loretta's. What's the game plan after that? Are you trying to, So let me put this into perspective. My boy had a rough day. Okay, a rough day. And after the first motos, we walked out and we're watching the Super Mini class. And my wife turned to me and she said, I don't think TJ is going to want to do this. Like, because you've stood on the line, you've stood on the track and watched the Super Mini class. It's intense. It's intense. And And I watched it too, and I'm like, man, I don't know if I want that for him. I don't know if I want that. Like, that is... I want to tear up right now thinking about, because, like, I can't think of my baby boy, like, just having to be in the middle of that chaos.
It's insane. And seeing this side of it on the other side of the world, Australia, they protect our kids so bad. Like, you can't use a pit board until you're like 16, you know, back there.
What?
So there's no pit boards. There's no pit boards in junior kids. You can't sit there and scream at your kid, you know, in like a mechanics area as a
Wait a
junior
minute. You can't yell at your kid?
No, you're not allowed to yell like you guys over here. Like, I fit in because I gave him the almighty spray this morning, and, you know, he's been, you know, told I'm going to drag him off the track and all that, and it's...
I didn't know we're watching the race. We're watching the second moto, and I didn't know you were near me until I heard you yelling at Hux, and I'm like, oh, there he is.
Yeah.
There he goes.
Yeah. The second moto, I gave him a come on, and it's more so to just keep the bike up. Like, the kid can ride. And he said to me before and after the second motor, he goes, I don't get aggressive until I've dropped it. And I'm like, well, fucking drop it walking to the gate. I was like, drop it walking to the gate. Don't drop it on the track.
Yeah.
Like, don't get that eye of the tiger because you've dropped it. Drop it before you get to the gate, kid, because when you've got that eye of the tiger on you, like, you can ride and you can lay down some laps. But he just takes too long to get going because he's not used to this competition.
Yeah.
He's not used to shooting into turn one with 40 kids. And you need to get a good start.
Man.
Otherwise, it's going to make it hard.
Yeah.
So,
it's scary. We got 2 good starts. TJ got 2 good starts today. And I got to hand it to him because I got to tell you, so I raced when I was 4 years old. I raced. And at TJ's age, if my dad ever brought me to this race, I would look at him and say, no. Nope. Put me in the van.
I'm out of here.
I would have. So for my son to go out there and do what he did, like, it's just... I have a huge appreciation for what he's out here doing. Yeah, he's in 20th and, you know, 15th in one class, but, man, dude, he's still doing better than I would have ever done, you know? So...
And there's 40 kids out there, and at 4 to 6, that's daunting.
That's it.
I don't care which way you look at it. And, you know, my kids, my 2 kids are apple and orange, you know. My daughter wouldn't care about it. Like,
yeah.
She's not shy. She'll go and flip the bird to anyone, you know. But Hux is the kid that stands at the back and, you know, is the soft-spoken one that you can hardly get a word out of, and yes is his best answer that he normally gives you. So, he's had to man up a bit. You know, he the first trip he came over with my wife, and he's normal coach in Australia. So that was the hardest 10 days of my life. Sitting there, waking up at 1 o'clock in the morning with bare shit phone reception for my wife while she's in Tomahawk.
Yeah.
And
because there's no service there.
Yeah, getting race results from her, like. I can see him. He's in 5th. Oh, he's dropped it. He's down to 8th.
Yeah.
He's fought back to 4th, and that was the results. And then we went to Mill Creek, and I had a shit week at work, so I hadn't slept much. So practice day, I just went to sleep. I didn't wake up for practice day, and then I get a phone call, and she's like, he's broke his arm, and I was like,
so you weren't even here?
No, I wasn't even here. I was sitting at home with my daughter and the dog, and I was like, get a phone call. He snapped his arm. It was like 3 o'clock in the morning, and I was like, whatever. It's fucking whatever. And just hung up on her, thinking it was a dream. And then I woke up at 6 o'clock to go to work, and I looked at my phone. I was like, oh, it's not a dream. He snapped his arm in half. So that was the longest, 3 hours waiting for him to go to the hospital and get x-rays to see whether our trip was thrown into chaos, because we planned on a 5-week trip. 10 days later, we're on a plane coming home, trying to reset and trying to work out what plan B is going to be.
Man, what a story.
And that was his first injury, his first major injury. He's had some pretty gnarly get-offs.
Yeah.
But that was his first injury. So trying to get him in the right headspace was probably what we were worried about the most. Is how do we get him back on the bike? But we get him back on the bike, and we don't have time to actually practice.
Yeah.
We're getting him back on the bike.
You're going in right into fire.
And we're going into a qualifier. We're going straight into a qualifier where, yes, that was probably the first time I've kind of gone, I hope there's not too many kids there.
Yeah.
I just want him to get some seat time this week, especially just this first one, just get through safe. If we came away with 8th, we came away with 8th. We came away with 3rd that weekend, and, that was like a win. We got back on the bike, and, he'd cut maybe 2 hours on the bike in 6 weeks. So that was a win for us to click that area ticket and move on to the next one.
Unreal.
So,
well, man, hey, I got to say, I appreciate you.
Nah, cheers,
I know you
thank
got
you.
tons of bike work to do. We all do.
Hopefully not.
Oh, man. But
I just want
you.
to make sure it holds together.
Thank you so much.
Nah, thanks very much,
man. I hope you guys punch a ticket tomorrow.
Nah, thank you.
And I hope we're watching you at the ranch.
I hope we get to ride again together. And so we got
sometime
bikes
soon.
here. We're coming back. You know,
Yeah.
that's the plan. We want to do Minios.
Minios, I'll tell you, Minios is like unreal.
Yep.
It is so fun. Loretta's is amazing. There's nothing like Loretta's, but it's 45 minutes of ride time compared to Minios where you rack up the hours on the bikes.
Yeah, perfect.
It's awesome. It's awesome. So,
yeah.
Hey man, thank you so much.
Thank you.
That is it. Moto Dad Podcast. Stay tuned. We're gonna do a bunch more of these. I don't have like total details yet, but we're leaving next week to go across the country, and we have interviews lined up with a bunch of really awesome moto dads. We're gonna have some fun. I promise we got some good content coming for you guys soon.
And the kids are gonna ride.
And the kids are gonna ride. We're gonna ride dirt bikes. Yeah. So, all right, guys. Thank you so much.